Hello and welcome to Health Professional Radio. I'm your host, Neal Howard. So happy that you could join us today. Our guest in studio is a fashion psychologist, Miss Dawnn Karen, based out of New York. She's the pioneering mind behind the global field of fashion psychology, specializing in styling people from the inside out, as she says, by bridging that gap between perception and reality. She's opened the Fashion Psychology Institute, offering her theories and techniques online, both online and brick and mortar, as well as Fashion Psychology Success, where she offers her professional services as a fashion psychologist. And we're here today to discuss the future of this brand new emerging field of fashion psychology. How are you doing this afternoon?
I'm doing very well.
Thank you. Thank you for returning with us and lending us some more of your time. As a fashion psychologist, you've opened the Fashion Psychology Institute. You've also offering professional services as a fashion psychologist through Fashion Psychology Success. Talk about designing someone from the or styling. Talk about styling someone from the inside out. We're not talking about makeovers, are we?
No, not at all. Actually debunk the makeover theory. Just because makeovers, when you see it on TV, it has a damaging effect to the psyche. If someone says, "Hey, you suck. You don't look, you don't look, interesting, or you look ugly today," it actually tears you down, and then they attempt to build you back up by changing your appearance. But the rhetorical question is, how long does that really last? And how damaging that could be to the psyche. So what we do at the Fashion Psychology Institute, styling from the inside out, is I teach my students that counseling comes first. There's a counseling base that comes first, talk therapy, get to the root of some issues, and provide the client with some insight. It's not necessarily you providing them with advice or coaching and telling them what to do, but you're kind of just guiding them, so to speak. So you're guiding them and leading them to some insights about how their past experience, their current experience, how it has affected how they present themselves to the world, their dress, their body language, speech, etc. So that's what we do.
You mentioned, I mentioned, and you set me correct on the makeover. The makeover implies negativity. It implies that you're going to be made better.
Yes.
When it comes to fashion psychology, is a change always better, or is it sometimes simply different?
Yeah, it's we don't want to say better. We just want to say different, because who you were and that present moment was who you were meant to be in that moment. It's not good or bad. It's just who you are, and it's not my job to put you down and say and be very judgmental. We're taught as psychologists to leave the judgments at the door. And so again, that's why this is different from image consulting or fashion styling, because we don't judge the client, and we're really coming from it from a psychological point of view, or we're not coaching you as an image consultant would. We're actually just guiding you as a psychologist would. So hence the term fashion psychologist.
You mentioned consulting, and sometimes consulting gets a bad rap.
Yes.
When it comes to consulting, what type of a person becomes a client of the fashion psychologist? Are we talking someone that's having fashion disasters on a daily basis, or are we talking about someone, you tell me, because I have no idea.
Yes. So I've had clients where it's a disaster, but more so it's clients who want to they have goals in mind. So we're trying to get them to a certain goal, maybe a different tax bracket, maybe it's a cultural thing where they want to dress this way when they're in their native country, but when they go abroad they want to dress another way. How do you navigate that without seeming or feeling, without the keyword feeling, without feeling fake or, just really phony? How do you be true to that, be true to oneself? So, it's a myriad of things. And mostly what all of the clients have in common is they're curious. They're curious and they're visionaries, because they can see the fashion psychology field before I put a book out. they can understand it by reading a media interview. So they're curious, and then they also are visionary. They can see the fashion psychology field and how it could be applied to them. And maybe they don't have all of the theories, but they sort of kind of get it. So, yeah.
In your information, it's indicated that you've done quite a bit of traveling abroad. When you're in another country, I'm going to date myself here and talk about, when in Rome, is it not as simple as when in Rome, simply do what the Romans do? I mean, you go to Hawaii. You get there, everyone who doesn't live in Hawaii, they've got on a Hawaiian shirt or any other. How do you land someplace and effectively and respectfully wear the garb of the culture?
Well, yeah, you want to know, not just do as the Romans do, you want to know why. Get to learn more so about the foundation, the history of that culture. Why do they dress a particular way? And what are their rules or are their requirements, or what they would like for foreigners to do? Sometimes, if you're in the Middle East, they would want you to wear an abaya or a hijab when you're going to visit the mosque, in Abu Dhabi. But, in Dubai, maybe it's, don't wear a tank top, but you're going to wear sleeves on your shirt. So it's subtle things, and you just want to know why. And it's very important. And that's when fashion psychology, comes into play. And if you can't handle that, or respect the rules, then things happen. If you chew gum on, the train in Dubai, or you go into your woman and you go inside the male portion of the train, if you can't respect the rules, there are certain consequences. When people travel, they like to think, especially Americans, I'm American, nothing will happen to me. If something happens to me, my country will save me. It's this very, egocentric, mentality. So it's, in fashion psychology, we kind of, show you, like I've done workshops where we show you, what's appropriate to wear and why, and get you over that, egocentric, viewpoint.
What about fashion psychologies across industries? Obviously, being a fashion psychologist, you will deal in the entertainment industry. I can't imagine you not being a huge demand in the entertainment industry. But when it comes to other industries, say law enforcement or first responding or the medical industry, I'm once again going to date myself. My mother was a nurse. She's retired now. But I can remember growing up, and it was nothing but white uniforms, skirts when I was a little boy, and then they were allowed to wear some pants. But they always had that nurse's cap on that had to be starched, and you had to put the bluing in it to make sure it was whiter than white. Now you've got scrubs that are everything from designed to look like jeans to camouflage to everything. What's going on as far as, is that part of fashion psychology, and are you involved in that at all?
Well, I haven't really dealt with it, but what I can say is I can add some commentary to say that you can see with the advancement of, always liken this to technology. With the advancement of technology, fashion evolves as well. They kind of go hand in hand. I always find correlations that are, parallels. So what you're seeing is that, back in the days, it was this dark uniform. Now it's more so we need to be comfortable. Everyone knows, the work of that a nurse or anyone in the medical field has to, endure. So it's more of a level of being comfortable, as well as being expressing yourself. So maybe you're going to wear some pink scrubs today, or like you said, a camouflage scrub. But and how would that affect the patient when you see them? Will those colors make them happy, or just make them feel better? Just seeing, because maybe when you would see the nurse, back in the day, it's like doomsday, because, that probably signifies bad news. But maybe if you see a bright, colorful nurse and her demeanor is bright, maybe you're going to think, okay, this is going to make me feel better. Maybe I'll have some good news. So it's seemingly how it could play a role. Yeah.
Now, as we wrap up, talk about the future of using psychology in fashion. Do you have a vision of being more involved with the design industry, and maybe changing the look of the runway.
Yes. What the vision is, like I said, I'm just establishing the education piece of it. I've done a bunch of media interviews, to spread the word, and now the foundation is the education. So I am trying to roll out the course, a fashion psychology course, and a bunch of universities in New York. I'm also doing workshops. I'm also hoping to roll out the course in universities in the U.S. and perhaps abroad. But in the meantime, I have it in a few colleges in New York, and then I have the Fashion Psychology Institute for international students. I'm also writing a book. So I won't reveal the title, but maybe when I do publish the book, I will come back on your show. It'll be my third time, so that would be great. But the book, and then once I establish the foundation of education, then we can dip into the reality TV show, the clothing, accessories, how an accessory could affect your mood and whatnot. So that's the plan,
You've been listening to Health Professional Radio. I'm your host, Neal Howard. We've been in studio talking with Professor Dawnn Karen, the youngest professor at the Fashion Institute of Technology, and she is a fashion psychologist, a pioneering mind behind the field of fashion psychology, opening the Fashion Psychology Institute, as well as Fashion Psychology Success, where she offers her professional services across industries as a fashion psychologist. We've been here discussing the future of fashion psychology and the role that Professor Karen will be playing in it. It's been great having you here with us today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Transcripts and audio of this program are available at healthprofessionalradio.com.au and also at hpr.fm. And you can subscribe to this podcast on iTunes.